What's up, guys? And good morning. 6:30. I'm fucking tired. After the call with Nicholas last night, I was just like wired for a couple hours. I couldn't fall asleep until like 11 or 12. Only got like 6 hours of sleep, but you don't know how bad I wanted to just fucking go back to sleep, but some part of me said just fucking get up, because if you sleep in today, you're gonna want to sleep in tomorrow. So, oh man, just gonna have to suffer through it. So, anyways, like today is the Magnetic Skywalker. It's a brand new wave spell. Oh man, gotta get back to the grind, man. If you're not doing calls or working with your clients, then you gotta go back to the fucking grind, right? Making content, building relationships, you know? Sometimes it's fucking exhausting, but that's where all the value is. That's where all the money is. So, back to the grind. I have had 2 people join a day minimum. Um, Past few days, I haven't even had to do that much, to get new members in. But yeah, no new members when I woke up this morning. Um, Fuck. There is like an intense exhaustion that I feel, you know? And I don't believe it's in me, because me, like, I'm pretty much constant and the same every single fucking day, you know? Like, oh my god. What should I talk about? Should I talk about money or believing in yourself or the Mayan time codes? Skywalker, I believe, is an energy kind of like Sagittarius to me, but like exploring and seeking. It's seeking out answers and it's seeking out the truth. And sometimes the truth is, dude, there's going to be days where you just don't feel like working. You don't feel like doing anything. Those are the days where you really have to fucking dig deep in you and find some kind of motivation or find some kind of discipline. And it's like, how can I have the emotional energy to even want to build connections when I fucking feel like I have no energy whatsoever? I'm tired, I'm sleep deprived, you know. It's easy to get negative, it's easy to be grumpy, it's easy to be frustrated. All the free work that I'm doing, wish people would take me more seriously. It's like, people do take you seriously, man. But do you want to build a business? Like I don't think people realize the amount of work that it takes to launch a business. You know what I mean? I got a client in my other business that I honestly don't even want to do it, but I said I would do it. $200. It's going to take probably an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours. It's driving from Pflugerville to Southish Austin. You know, I'm valuing my time at $1,000 a day, so it's like honestly not even really worth doing it. But I said I would do it to help him out. I've helped him out, guy I know a few times. I'll take the money, but I don't personally want to do it, you know. So I thought about it. I was like, I could just tell him no, but I was like, just throw out 200, and if he does it, then just fucking do it. So I don't know. It gives me a reason to get out of the house. I was gonna be at 9. Only problem is it's like still freezing weather, so I don't want to have to drive if there's any like ice on the road. But I don't think there's any ice because I think it's been pretty dry. But yeah, this guy, his energy honestly does feel kind of contaminated. So I was thinking like, what's the energetic effect of even like helping this guy out? Because not only does it cost me time and energy, but it also costs me sometimes a little bit of emotional energy when I have to help people or, choose to help people who are like really struggling. So sometimes there is an emotional tax to work with certain people, even though they're paying you, you know, if it's a heavy energy, if they're really struggling, So not every client is going to be a good fit, even if they want to hire you. In the beginning, I think we're eager to just get our first few sales. So we may be willing to do a little bit more work, you know. I suggested like $1,500 offer with Nicholas for maybe up to 20 hours. Like, I don't know. I don't know how much you make in your other job, but $100 an hour is reasonable if you've made similar amounts of money. If you're hungry for business, then you just want to start getting your first few wins. You want to start getting a client quickly. You know, I haven't even launched my offer for like, I think like 2 weeks. Let me go back in here and look. Like, I didn't even launch my high ticket offer and change my group to Super Saiyan Sales until I want to say like 2 weeks ago. Let's see. I'm going to go back through my group. I launched Super Saiyan. I remember the exact day because love the picture change. The yellow is so inviting. Yeah, I didn't even change my group to Super Saiyan Sales 10 days ago. And then raising it to 2,000, that was 11 days ago. Yeah, I didn't even have a high ticket offer 2 weeks ago. So if I manifest my first client, this week, that's pretty fucking amazing, huh? I've only had my high ticket offer for 2 weeks. I may be able to get my first client in 2 or 3 weeks. So, that's why you have to have confidence in what you're selling. There's two people that are like, maybe wanting to work with me professionally. I've just recently started even really offering it on calls. So I'd say that's pretty fucking great, actually, in 2 weeks, you know. So if I can get my first client in 2 weeks of launching my offer with a group that is like brand new, you know, I've only known some of the people in my group for like three, maybe, I don't even think 4 weeks ago I even knew some of these people. So that's pretty crazy. So if I can do it in less than 3 weeks, you don't think you can do it in like 2 months? That's why I say 30 to 60 days. I mean, you'd be surprised, guys. If you meet synchronistic people and you put your intention out there in the universe, like, you could meet people that may want to hire you in less than a 2 or 3 week cycle, you know? Like, you never know, man. It could be less than 7 days from meeting somebody. If for whatever reason they just really like your energy, you know, they might consider working with you. So it's just to give you confidence and hope that you can sell high ticket. This is a sales mastermind group. So we talk about getting sales and doing calls. I seem to be kind of flowing much more now in the group. I think you got to put energy into your group and you got to kind of like charge up the energy in the group. And then I use a lot of this now throat chakra. It's a social energy. People have been responding really well to this energy and changing the color. It's a chatty color. It's a communicative color. So yeah, sometimes you have to just build when you don't feel like it. Sometimes you just have to produce when you don't have a whole lot of emotional energy to do it. Are you able to say interesting things when you're tired? Yes. Are you able to go to work when you don't feel like it? Yes. You know? And yeah, I mean, what do you value your time at? Because, you know, all this work that we're doing needs to pay off. Otherwise, you're just not going to want to do it anymore. So, I think you just need to believe in yourself, guys. You just need to fucking go for it. And you just need to keep showing up, you know? And what that means is, even if you're tired and exhausted, and you want to, like, you know, keep growing your community and you want to keep getting new members in, then you need to post in groups and, you know, leave comments. Maybe you do Instagram funnels or post videos on another platform, YouTube, TikTok, or even Facebook, or make a reel. You know, some people are even getting clients from X, like Twitter, and Threads. So it's being done on every single platform, right? So it's Saturday. I still woke up at 6, even though I'm fucking tired as hell. Only got like 6 hours of sleep. I probably need to eat something because I kind of did a fast yesterday. So my body probably also just wants energy. So I'm gonna carb up. Maybe that'll give me some more energy. I forgot that my body is like totally depleted. I had a vodka diet yesterday. I don't know how many calories of vodka I had, but probably like, I don't know, 1,000 or so. Um, Throughout the whole day, just a little bit at a time. But yeah, that's not the healthiest thing to do. But I don't have any juice or anything. Do a juice fast. Um, I should probably go to the gym if I'm honest. I should go do some legs. I don't feel like doing that either. But you know, you gotta push yourself to have energy. You got to push yourself to create energy, you know, cardio, stretch, and then lift weights. You know, that gives you a tremendous advantage and it gives you more energy, gives you a lot more testosterone. So you should go do it, right? So I may actually go to the gym now because I'm already just tired anyways. And so, and then I need to meet this guy at 9, so it's only 6:45. I guess I'll just go to the gym now and then go meet him up afterwards. So that's what I plan on doing. Yeah, I mean, if you have been seeing what I've been doing, if you watched my last video where I talk about how you start lining up calls, I hope it makes sense. I don't want you to look at my red energy as a taking forceful kind of thing. You know, the one thing that I said in my call with Nicholas yesterday is you have to demand money. And I mean, I know that sounds selfish, but it's like, bro, if you don't ask for money with authority, most of the time people aren't going to pay you, you know? And so you don't have to look at it as being demanding of money, you know, necessarily. But it's like, if you don't ask, guys, you'll never receive. If you don't ask for a better life, then you're not going to receive it. I actually believe the universe wants us to make demands, wants us to manifest things, because even the universe gets tired, you know? Like, people manifest and they meditate and they visualize and they ask the universe for what they want, but they don't demand what they want. And you almost feel like it's wrong to be a demanding person. Well, I don't ever want to upset anybody and I don't ever want to make demands because I don't like it when people make demands of me. And it's like, okay, but have you ever actually made money in a business before? So either I'm telling you the truth and this is just a requirement for having a successful business. Well, you don't have to be demanding, you know, you can just be polite and maybe you'll get more business. I'm telling you, business favors a slightly aggressive energy, you know, and you say, well, I don't ever want to be like that. And I don't ever want to have to do that in my life. And I'm like, you're not aggressive with people. But it's like, if you don't believe in what you're doing, they're not going to believe in what you're doing. So maybe let's not use the word demand money, because I rewatched my video last night, and maybe we should use the word just have a lot of conviction and have a lot of belief in yourself. But I've made a lot of money in my businesses by being somewhat demanding. You know, the customer always tries to nickel and dime you in other businesses that I had, you know. Well, can you do it for less? And I'm like, I literally say to them, sorry, comma, no. Sorry, no, I won't. I won't do it for less than that. Why? Because sometimes, guys, you should look at people lowballing you as a sign of disrespect. Well, would you coach me for like a couple hundred hours? Like, yeah, I'll coach you for 150 an hour on a call. You know, if I'm doing a 2 or 3 hour call, that's already $500 of value that I'm giving somebody, you know? And like, how do you value your time to be that much? And it's like, guys, you need to understand that there are people out there that are selling at 10K. Like seriously, there are people out there selling at 3,000, 5,000, 10,000. I know people who sell at like 9,000 and they get clients. You say, "Well, why would someone ever be worth that much?" Because they have a track record of success, and once they've worked with maybe 10, 20, 30 people one on one, then you can raise your price, man. If your time is worth more than 100 an hour, I don't know how much some of you guys make. If you make 300K a year, that's 150 bucks an hour, you know, minus the taxes that you pay, you know, but I suppose that school income is also taxable income. So you're saying, well, maybe my time's worth 150 an hour or 200 an hour. 200 an hour, if you could give 40 of those hours, that's a 400K salary. That's pretty great, you know. But you build confidence in a number by having a track record of success. I have sold so many hours of my time for $200 in my last business. In my first business, I made even more than that, but it was really just based on my energy and like how much I wanted to sell, you know? So, anyways, like you become worth more when you prove to the universe and you prove to the marketplace that you're willing to keep going and keep fighting when you're tired, when you're exhausted, when it's Saturday and you don't feel like it. And it's like, you don't even sleep in on the weekends. I'm like, no, I wake up at 6 every fucking day and I'm working every fucking day unless I just really need a day off. But as of lately, I can usually go like 7 to 10 days and only need to take like one day off, you know. And when I rest, I rest. I watch anime. I play some video games, you know. I may smoke a little bit, and that's fine, you know. Um, so I don't know. Listen to your body. But when you study like billionaires and like really successful people, almost every single one of them talk about working from sun up to sundown. Sam Owens, the founder of School, he said, I was working around the clock because he, you know, quit his degree job, you know, working for some like phone company or something. And he moves back in with his parents and he just really wanted to build his own thing. And his first business was a massive failure. I watched the interview. And then his second business, he was successful. And the guy was interviewing him and he said, how are you able to become successful so quickly? And he said, I was working every single hour of the day. This is a common theme, you guys. And you may say, well, I just don't want to do that. Okay, well, I'm looking for people that do want to do that, you know, because it's so much easier for me personally, guys, to coach someone who has a strong work ethic, you know, and I don't mind helping people with their work ethic and to develop their work ethic, but it's just going to be, they're just going to want more of my energy. Do you know what I'm saying? If they're not producing at a high level, then they're going to want my high level energy. And then I can give them some of that, but then that's going to be exhausting to me. And then what happens when the coaching is over if we haven't gotten them to convert on a result, you know? So I've been giving a few people a discount, like an offer of a discount, 1,500 instead of 2,000, just because I'm still newish on School. But if it's like a person that is like really struggling and really tired all the time, then you kind of have to add an energy tax because their energy is going to cause you to, you know what I mean? They're going to be kind of a lower vibration than the average person. So, hold on. My lock screen. Okay. I guess it's set to every 20 minutes. But do you know what I mean? So sometimes you have to add a tax if it's someone who is like really struggling or they're really in a negative headspace, then you might have to charge them, full price, you know, and you have to add an energy tax. Sometimes you have to tax people. I added a tax for this guy, you know, the guy that I'm going to help at in a couple hours. Like in the past, I may have done it for like 150, but I got to add an energy tax, man, because every time we've met and shook hands, like his energy feels like super burnt out and kind of depressed and like kind of like, you know, like craving alcohol, craving things, and it's so, it's okay to tax people for their energy if you feel like it's not at the same level as your energy. 1500 is for people who are really busting their ass and like already have like career success, and those are the people that I can help the easiest because they already have momentum. Do you know what I mean? So you have to decide, does this person have momentum? Your prospects, the people that may hire you high ticket. We got to start talking about high ticket more, guys. This is a sales mastermind group. We got to talk about business. If you want to do a collab call or a mastermind call with me, I'm going to do a couple of them today. But collab call and mastermind call, guys, we're not pitching each other unless we start asking each other questions about business. Then it's fine to just throw out your offer. I'm telling you straight up, that I'm charging between 500 is my absolute minimum, and that's just for me to really help you optimize your system and give you a sales system and tell you how to get leads and tell you how to get people to join your group fast, give you some communication scripts. That's 500. That's like bare minimum. 1,000 gives more coaching and launches it a bit more, but it's 2,000 for most people. And then I'll only give you a discount if it feels like you're like really motivated and like you're really hungry for success. Then I'm willing to give a slight discount. Yeah. I mean, I'm okay with doing that. A lot of people have been telling me 1,500 is the number that they feel confident with. So because if 1,500 is a number you're confident with, then I'll give you $1,500 of coaching and to help you get your $1,500 client. That's honestly usually how business coaching works. Some business coaches will not even do it for less than 3 or 5,000. There are plenty of guys who are like, sorry, I'm only going to do this for 5,000. And I said, you won't give me like 1 or 2 grand of coaching? And they said no. They weren't even willing to create a flexible offer for me. And I said, well, that sounds kind of stuck up. I'll give someone $500 or $1,000 of coaching. Like if you feel like your offer is 500, then yeah, I'll help you get it. Dude, it's not hard to get a client for 500. I'm going to be honest with you guys. I've closed in DMs, not even have to do calls with people for $500. Do you know what I mean? You don't even have to do a call for 500. If you want to price it at that. Like the reoccurring theme that I keep having now, because my energy and my, I'm starting to manifest like actual genuine prospects now, like much harder and much faster. And so, dude, you'd be surprised. Like 500 down is not that big of a deal. Many people would probably do it for you guys. But you got to figure out what's the number that validates me and what's the value that I think they would take this seriously. It's okay to price at $200, $300, $500. If this is like kind of like your first business, that's totally fine. You don't have to worry about how much you make hourly. It's just me personally, I've made $100-$200 an hour like very often. So I think my time is actually worth more than that if I give you my very best energy, which is usually like a reddish kind of maroonish color. But I do use this blue, like the third eye. We have to have an awareness of our weaknesses. We have to have an awareness of like what's not working. We have to have an awareness of like, how does the bio and the page look like? Some people are like, I'm not even sure what I would sell. So, when you hire a business coach, you're paying for speed because they're just going to help you implement much faster. Like if we worked together immediately, we will optimize your page like instantly. It's ready for business. You have to first be ready for business. Then every single person on the planet needs traffic and visibility. So we talk about all of your social media profiles, any of the ones that you like to be on more. And the fastest way to get a sale is through people that you already know, you're already friendly with, and have maybe even started to express interest in you, working together with you. You have to get over the fear of just talking to them because you never know. Someone may literally be like, dude, I've been wanting to like work with you for a while. It's just like you never really put yourself out there. You know what I mean? I wasn't sure if this was something you actually wanted to do. That may happen, maybe in up to like 10 to 30% of the people you already know. So that's why I could help you get a really fast win and get a really fast sale. That's going to give you confidence. I want to do a group visualization exercise in conclusion because I'm going to go run to the gym now. But, you know, like visualize getting your first client or your next client and how good is that going to feel? And how validating is that going to feel? And the money hits your account and now you finally have MRR on school. You got to pop the cherry, get the first sale, Sorry if that's a ugly thing to say, pop the cherry, my bad. That's like a sales kind of thing, but yeah, maybe that's an ugly thing to say. But get that first win, break the ice. You'll get a lot of momentum. Once you get your first client, it's so much easier to get your second client. And when I was working in sales, once you get that first sale, it's very validating. The money hits your account, it's nice, you closed it, you get to like shout it out. Hey, I just started working with this person now. Oh my God, I can't believe it's happening so quickly. I can believe it's happening quickly, dude, because I think I could get a client a day. I think I could get $1 or $2 grand a day. And then that's a new problem once you hit max capacity. That's also an interesting thing to think about. What is my maximum capacity? How many clients could I even have at one time? That's fun to think about. I could handle 10 clients, right now at 2,000, that's 20K. I could do 10 clients a month easily. What would you do with that money? I would immediately hire a videographer and a YouTube coach and possibly a TikTok coach. I would hire them to optimize my other profiles, and I would consider running a few ads. Hey, we're getting really fast growth, blah, blah, blah. You might, if you only have to spend $2 to $5 a day and you can get like 2 to 5 new members to join your group, I would pay that. I would pay $5 per new member, if you were running an ad. Right? So you can spend $100 a day. Can you try to get 20 new people to join your group in a day? Or maybe you just try to make more viral content. So yeah, I would immediately take that money and I would probably like hire higher level people. I probably would join premium groups. Like I'd probably join Ryan's VIP group. There's another star guy. Might join his group. You just start paying for more exposure and you start paying for even more. Some of them will let you advertise in their communities and they have a lot of traffic. So you don't know if it's actually going to pan out or not or be worth it, but you got to be willing to invest, for faster results. So successful people, in conclusion, guys, they pay for speed. $500, I'll help you, get your profile ready for business. Okay. 1,000 will perfect all of your sales processes and we'll start working on activating your warm market and then your content and your outreach strategy. 2,000, I'm going to give you much more coaching because it may take a few weeks. It may take up to 1 or 2 months. It just depends on how much motivation you have, how much energy you have, and then how many people you already have that might be interested in you. If you're starting out brand new, then I think it's safe to say give yourself like 2 months if you're really going to work hard. I'm not going to lie to you though. If you have never had an offer and your group has been kind of stale, 2 months is an optimistic time frame. If we really work hard, I think I could help you get at least $500. You know, it's kind of a money for money thing. If you want to get a $500 client, then I would charge you 500. You know what I mean? Why pay me 2,000 if you're only going to charge 500? You know, you don't have to do that. So, you know, the money that I charge is oftentimes the money that I'm going to help them make. You know, once I have maybe 10, 20, 30 clients, I'm probably am going to raise it to 3 and then 4 and then 5,000. You know, you're just attracting people who have more disposable income. You know, people who have really high paying jobs, people who are already making more than 6 figures a year. You know, it's not a stretch for them to spend, you know, more. So, you know, that's how people are able to raise their price to like 5, 10, 20K. Well, they're just doing business with people who make, you know, 2, 3, 4, 5 times more money than an average person. So, anyways, guys, I'm curious to chat with you and help you develop your offers. You know, I think you should minimum have a $500 product. Ideally, I think it should be more like one to 2 grand. You know, will help you craft that and make it make sense. It just has to be believable. Like you have to believe in the number that you set. You know, other people will only believe you if you believe in yourself. It's hard to sell something that you don't actually believe in. You know, trust me, I've worked in sales and I've sold all kinds of things. And if I didn't really love the product or if I just didn't really care that much about the opportunity, it was a lot harder to sell it. So I'm trying to sell hope, confidence, vision, strategy, communication skills, technology, and you just need the energy, man. You need the energy to keep fucking grinding. The reason why I have a lot of energy is because I'm very consistent. I'm extremely disciplined. I'm still waking up even though I only got 6 hours of sleep and it's fucking Saturday and it's freezing weather outside and I don't want to get out of bed. I'm still doing it, and that pays you in momentum. When you force yourself to do these uncomfortable, difficult things, the universe starts paying you in momentum, paying you in confidence, paying you in energy, and then ultimately is going to help you get the clients. But if you're asking for like an amazing life, then you need to be willing to produce like an amazing person. All right, guys, much love. Hope you have a great day. Let me know if you want to hop on a collab call or mastermind call, and I'll catch you later.